complete coordination. We work together. The military completely stands with all the democratic government's policies, whether it is with India, whether it is for peaceful solution in Afghanistan. Everywhere the military stands with us.
Okay, this is going to be time now to talk about regional issues and Afghanistan in particular. You have encouraged all the parties to resume talks. Let me ask you this specific question, Mr. Prime Minister. The ultimate goal of the peace talks is eventually to see peace and stability in Afghanistan. Do you think that the best formula would be a power sharing between the government in Afghanistan and the Taliban?
Look, Hashim, this 19 years of war in Afghanistan has created such divisions in the society. There's been so much bloodshed that for anyone to believe in this utopia that suddenly they will all get together and there'll be peace, I'm afraid it's a very complicated situation. But given the complicated situation, and by the way, I was the one who kept saying that there was never going to be a military solution, that there should be a political solution. Had they listened to me earlier, we probably would have had less complications. The longer this war went, the more the rivalries, the hatred, the divisions, and the more difficult it is to actually sit down together with all the antagonists. But this is the nearest we have got to peace in Afghanistan and a political solution.
But then what's the end game from a Pakistani perspective? What is the end game here from a Pakistani perspective? Would you enjoy or welcome the idea of a power-sharing agreement where the Taliban, along with the political establishment now in Kabul, come together and form a national unity government? Are you in favor of that formula? Yes or no, Mr. Prime Minister?
Hashim, whatever the Afghans think is good for them is good for us.
Okay.
Whatever influence we could use, I honestly think we've tried our best to somehow get the Taliban and Afghanistan government sit on one table. And, you know, this is a miracle that it is actually happening. We pray that this happens. We realize that there are spoilers. I'm afraid there's certainly one country, India, which does not want it to happen.
And this is exactly what I wanted to ask you. You have been always skeptical. I'm talking about the Pakistani established political elite. They have always been skeptical of the post-Taliban governments based in Kabul. Is it because you feel like they are leaning more towards India? Or that India could take advantage of the situation to create new political realignment?
Well, look, if you were Pakistan, you have a neighbor 7 times bigger than you, and then it starts meddling in the affair of a government which it has no boundaries with. India has no boundary with Afghanistan, but Pakistan has a huge boundary with Afghanistan, and all our relationship with Afghanistan, even before Pakistan came into being, are centuries old. Now, when India starts interfering there, unfortunately, our security forces, our security operators gets worried. It's natural. It would happen to any other country. But we have decided, we in Pakistan have decided, we don't care what India does there, but whatever is good for Afghanistan is good for us. We feel that peace in Afghanistan, after Afghanistan, the other country which has a stake in peace in Afghanistan is Pakistan. Because instability there creates instability on the border regions, what was our former tribal areas, and that affects the whole of our country.
You've been saying basically that you are always open to dialogue with the Indians to end the issues that you've been having with it for many, many decades, particularly the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, it's been now a year since the Indians decided to revoke the special designation of the region, effectively annexing Jammu and Kashmir. Do you have any hopes that with Narendra Modi you can sort it out?
Hashim, look, let me just make it clear. I do not believe in military solutions. I have never believed in military solutions. The moment I became the Prime Minister, I extended a hand of friendship to India. But the tragedy of India, Hashim, is India is being ruled by an extremist. It's an extremist government. It is a Hindu supremacist government inspired by the ideology is inspired by the Nazis. And what I'm saying, the Nazi Germany, what I'm saying, all you have to do is look at the history of RSS, which basically is ruling India now. It was an extremist organization. RSS thrice was outlawed in India as a terrorist organization. They now control 1.3 billion people nuclear armed. That's the tragedy what's happened in India. I know India better than most Pakistanis. It's not just that our neighbors, we are threatened. It's not what they're doing in Kashmir. Hashim, it's for people in India. The sensible, the normal people in India. It's a tragedy for them what is happening there.
But don't you see that Pakistan itself should understand that they cannot continue as a country to see themselves as the victim forever? And just I'll give you a hint here. You've been trying to rally international support. The United Nations Security Council met 3 times about Kashmir. Absolutely no strong sign of solidarity with your country. All symbolic gestures. Don't you feel like you've been abandoned by Western allies?
Hashim, number one, Kashmir is a disputed territory between Pakistan and India since 70 years. Now, this disputed territory on 5th August last year was taken over by India by brute force. 8 million people in Kashmir in an open prison and 800,000 Indian troops in the valley who are now oppressing them. Now, we have knocked all doors and we will keep doing so. We went to I spoke in the United Nations Security Council. I've spoken to the heads of states. This is an extreme injustice, not just for people of Kashmir. If this escalates and if this breaks up into conflict between Pakistan and India, this has implications for the rest of the world. That's why it's serious.
But
why the world is not saying anything right now?
This is the problem.
Because, Hashim, listen, Hashim, let me make it clear. No, Hashim, let me make it clear.
Sure.
The reason why the world or certain parts of the world are not responding, because unfortunately, countries worry about their commercial interest. They look upon India as a huge market. And so they are willing to ignore this huge travesty of justice that is taking place there. It doesn't mean that we will sit down quietly and accept this. We will keep trying.
I understand your anger and understand your frustration. Is it the reason why your foreign minister delivered an unprecedented sharp rebuke of the Organization of the Islamic Countries about Kashmir in particular, to the point where the Saudis were really angry about what your foreign minister said?
Hashim, first of all, it's not frustration. I believe that countries struggle. Yes, we wanted OIC to take a more front role in this whole thing. Yes, we did. But let me make it clear. Saudi Arabia will always be a friend of Pakistan. But yes, we want OIC to take a bigger role in this whole thing.